It's my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all. I am Sujata Tibrewala, networking developer evangelist at Intel. So my work here is to work in open source community in software-defined networking and NFV and drive the adoption of the next generation technologies in the SDN and NFV area. I have a background in Layer 2, Layer 3 software development, but I very much enjoy my work as a community development manager where I work to build the community, work with developers, understand their challenges, get the feedback back to Intel, and vice versa. So what is the DPDK Summit? It is a DPDK community event. How many of you are familiar with DPDK? Or very few hands. How many people are not familiar with DPDK? Very few hands again. Okay, looks like we are not energized enough because you have to fall in either of the buckets. So I will not talk about DPDK. Kanan and Deepak in the next session will talk about it. I'll talk about the community aspect of it. So what is a community? Is it the people on the left, praying piously, or is it the good people on the right? The answer is yes. Both of them are community. As are people believing in some quirky things like running for 6 hours. You have running groups. How many people know that? Okay. There are people who do art or music or poetry. There's community around everything, each and everything. So closer to what is interesting to this audience, there's community around open source software, there's community around Wikipedia. This is a snapshot of Wikipedians taken in 2012. So now, if you are following this space, SDN and NFV space, like me, when you feel that you have all figured out, you know all the open source projects where they belong, you go to a conference and you see another open source project pop up, right? And it confuses you. Okay, now I need to learn what this new project is. Where does it fit in? Does it fit in the control plane, software plane? What platform does it work on? Does it make sense for me to look into it and adopt it as a developer, as an architect, as a decision maker, whatever. So you might have heard of this thing previously. An open source community is more about the community rather than what the technology actually is. Because by definition, the open source community is driven by community, right? There is nobody on a support line saying that, if you have a problem, somebody will fix your bug. So these are the 5 points which I have taken up, which you can think of when you are thinking of evaluating an open source community. So you can evaluate based on the basis of how many contributions are made in the open source community. Does this community have a healthy release cycle? Does it have an ecosystem around it? And last but not the least, what is the adoption of this? Is there enough user community around this? Are people waiting for the releases? Are people waiting for the features? And all of this contributes to longevity of the community, right? Viability of the community. Will it last long? Does your investment in terms of your time, in terms of your effort and learning make sense? So let's see how DPDK fares into this. So on the left-hand side, you see a diagram. So the y-axis is the number of commits per release cycle, and the x-axis is the release. So the newer releases from 2016 are numbered on the basis of the year and the month. So 1604 is a release in 2016. It was released in April. So as you can see, we have like close to 800, more than 800 commits per releases. And as I understand, in the latest release, we are getting to 1,000 commits, right? Yeah. The right-hand diagram shows the major contributors to the DPDK community. So you can see a whole range. There are many, many more. We couldn't fit all of them on a slide. And there is a whole range you can see, right? It also, one of the key things about DPDK is that it is vendor neutral. It supports multi-architecture. Why is that important? It's important because the end users, the service providers, they do not want vendor lock-in today. And that is what is driving software-defined networking and network function virtualization. They do not want to get married to a particular platform. So that's why the fact that so-called competitors like Cavium, NXP, Mellanox, and Intel are contributing to DPDK means it is a true community effort. So the big news is that DPDK community is moving to Linux Foundation. How many know about that? Okay, quite a few. So what is significant about DPDK moving to Linux Foundation? It has been an open source community from 2013, but moving to Linux Foundation means it adheres to the guidelines given by the Linux Foundation. So guidelines and processes which is more familiar with the industry. A big thank you to our gold members and silver founding members. If you want to contribute, you're interested, please find one of us here with the Intel badges and we'll be happy to help you with that. So like I said, this is the first DPDK summit in India. The DPDK summit started in 2014 in US. You can't see the timelines here, but the last, so there's 2014, 15, and 16. From one summit, we moved to 4 summits last year, and this year we'll be moving to 5 because Bangalore is added. And every time, of course, the number of attendees, the community is growing. So what are DPDK summits for? It's a platform created by the community and with a big, huge support from Intel and our gold sponsors, TCS. It's a platform for you to learn, to get help. If you are stuck with something, you want to learn something, you want to adopt, you are trying to make a decision, please find any of us, find the speakers, find your peers, and talk to them. This is a platform for you to connect, engage with each other, be present for the next hour. And last but not the least, no community can survive without you contributing back to the community. So this is a call to action to everybody present in the audience to help build this community in whatever way you can. If you are not ready to contribute code to it, talk about it. If you know someone who's looking for help, make the connections to it. If you want to sponsor something, sponsor something. Just it is a community, so and I'll quote a quote here. So I don't remember the person's name, but the quote is, things like community or goodness survives on a delicate balance of short-term goodness and long-term selfishness. So you do something good for someone with a belief that in the long term somebody else will do that good back to you. So yes, that's what the community is about. Now I would ask each one of you to take a step back and think why you are here. Make a mental note, think in your head, put it in writing on a piece of paper, or take a note on your notepad, laptop, your cell phone, whatever, and look back at it. Why are you here? And use the next 8 hours towards that goal. Okay? We have spent a lot of time, effort, and money to put this event together for you, for the community. We have a packed agenda. Back in 2016, when we were discussing about having a summit here in Bangalore, we did not know if we'll have a critical mass. But the fact that we have a packed agenda and we have a packed hall with people waiting in line. We have enough critical mass here. So make use of it. Ask questions. Raise your hands. There will be mic runners around the hall. Make sure your questions are heard by the speaker and everybody else. If your questions cannot be accommodated in the time, then find speakers during the break, during lunch, during the evening reception, whatever. Make use of the wonderful demos that we have set up during the lunch time. And my apologies to those who we could not accept on day 2. If you still think that you need it and we're sorry about that, please find me or any of us from Intel. We'll be happy to accommodate you in a future session or give you another option for this. Last but not the least, there are feedback forms. I know some of you could not register because of the time constraint. You will be registering during the break. But those who registered, who got a feedback form, so please fill the forms later in the day and give it back to the desk at the end of the evening. We'd like to hear back from you what worked in the event, what did not work, what more you would see in such an event. Okay, so thank you everyone. That's all I have. So can I have can I hear from you? Where are we? What is the event? DPDK Summit. What event is it? What is it? It's for DPDK community. Yes. Once more. Who is it for? Once more. On a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Louder. Come on, wake up, everyone. On a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's great. Thank you. So with this, we'll move on to the next round. Zara will introduce the next speakers, and we'll move on to the agenda for the day. Thank you.